Embrace transition. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. I had a conversation with somebody today that she's going to be a guest on an upcoming podcast, and so I'll review it again with you once it's available. But she mentioned about being in transition right now, specifically being in transition career-wise, not really knowing where to go, being that what she normally did was really abruptly, stopped by the whole COVID situation and everything. And I think this is across the board. People are dealing with this. We were talking about last night about like that this is a really good time to expand, if at all, if you know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, let's go a little bit deeper into that. If you're at a point where you know you have to keep going, but you're not sure where to go next, the first thing you really have to do is to embrace the transition itself. Embrace the fact that this is good. This is a good thing, that you're going in a good direction, that you're going to find something that you weren't expecting, and it's going to take you in a completely different way. If you think back on your life at all the sharp turns that you've made, and think of everything that's led you to where you are now and all the great things that you've gotten from that, I think you'll find that it's pretty useful. So if I think back all the way back 20 years ago, whenever I'm in one of these spots, and I've talked about these things in the past, I know just within the last week I talked about a point I was at in 2012 when I just needed something different to come and change and switch things up, and it did. And in 2020, something very similar, in 2000, something very similar happened. So I had moved out to Chico, California, and I had this big old massive plan that was based on a whole team of people that I was working with. And the plan fell apart because nobody on that team followed through except for me. And so I found myself in Chico, California, where I didn't want to be. I had no reason to be in Chico that I could see. And it was one of those things where I was going to school, I was working, I had everything taken care of. I didn't know anybody besides a couple of people that I moved in with. That one person I knew a little well, his name was Chris. The other person I didn't know at all. And so I got to know them a little bit, but they had their own lives going and everything else. And so I'm in a town I didn't know anybody. I had no idea why I was there. And it looked like all my plans had completely fallen apart and probably would never come back together again. And they didn't. But it was all for a good reason. And something came directly to me and landed in my lap. A complete stranger met me at my place of work, which at the time was Barnes & Noble. I was working both swapping coffee. Most of the time I was working behind the counter of the cafe there, where you oftentimes you'd see, Starbucks or something like that. Well, we served Starbucks coffee there. And so that was my main place. And every once in a while I'd be out on the floor and be doing stuff with the books. Well, this particular day I happened to be out on the floor. A complete stranger came up to me looking for a certain book. We started talking and chatting, and that conversation took me in a direction in my life that I could not have ever chosen for myself or guessed for myself. It just happened, and it put me in a place to where everything in my life right now would not have happened. All the best things in my life especially would not have happened had I not accepted the fact that transition was coming and was ready when it came. Because I kept saying to myself, well, what if this goes somewhere? What if something happens here? And I met that gentleman. That gentleman introduced me to someone else, who introduced me to someone else, and that whole situation changed my life. But you can't guess it. You just have to be ready for it. And it starts with the big question, okay, what now? What next? Where do I go from here? And when someone tosses something in front of you that seems like it might be right, work with it. Follow it. follow the lead, see where it goes. Like a detective trying to sniff out clues. Follow the lead and see what happens. Because in my situation, in so many of the major turns in my life, that's how it happened. And if you're in that spot, I'm going to suggest you just be open. Be open to the next step. Don't try and plan it. You can try and guess what it will be, but you probably won't have it right if your life's anything like mine. Hopefully that's helpful to you. It's something you probably already know, but maybe having somebody repeat it back to you is probably a little bit of help. I know it would be for me if I were in that situation. So also grab my book. Go to amazonproofbook.com. It might help you to help kind of guide you in a certain direction. I have no specific direction that I'm taking you in. It's there to help feed something that you already have going. So hopefully that would make a difference too. You get a free copy, amazonproofbook.com. We'll be back here tomorrow night. Come on back. We'll keep the conversation going. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Send a message to me over at brianjpombo.com. You have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow. Get out there and just let the magic happen.